Oh, hey. You know, I've heard of mass weddings before, but this is ridiculous. It says here the next expert is talking about audience engagement. Sounds like a lot of diamond rings to me. Presenters engaging with their audience members. Okay, that's just weird. It says here there are entirely new platforms to be employed in the pursuit of getting an audience to be more interactive with the message you're conveying. Okay, I think I get it. Still, I better watch this next one with you.
I'm speaking with Michael Floyd, Regional Vice President, PSAV. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you.
We're talking about audience engagement, and it's interesting to me because in my day, Sister Mary Margaret would walk around with a ruler and whack you on the knuckles and say, pay attention. But I think we've evolved beyond that, have we not?
Just a bit.
And I know it's both an issue of technology and content as well.
That's right.
But just from the broadest perspective right now, where are we in terms of technology as regards audience engagement?
Well, you know, it's a moving scale, and always we need to look at where we've been the last 6 or 7 years, because a lot of those technologies that were prevalent 6 or 7 years ago, we're now actually seeing working live. And you know, it's all coming down to finding out what the people, right, no matter what the conference is, what really they're thinking beforehand, right? Getting a good understanding of what their prejudices are, what their biases might be before the conference, right? And so how do you use technology to gather that information? And then on into the conference, you really want to ask yourself, how do you want to make the audience feel? You know, what experience do you want them to experience while they're there? But more importantly, what do you want them to believe? What do you want them to take away?
You're fortunate because you speak to a lot of planners. You
Right.
get a nice horizontal slice of the business.
Sure.
In your experience and from what you've seen, and this is in no way a negative, but do you think planners in general have come to grips with how to manage the audience engagement tools?
I think they're all trying to serve their clients is what they're trying to do, right? And so doing that, a lot of it's human nature to be reactive a lot of times. You know,
Right.
you want to serve and please the customer, right? So you go off and you can go and try and find things that'll do that. I think that if meeting planners want to take the lead with this type of technology and how to integrate technology, I think they need to look at what they're doing to really gain the attention of the participating audience. So I'm going to give you 5 quick things that maybe if a meeting planner's watching now, they can just jot down and use
Perfect.
that as sort of a guideline, right? So you want to get the attention of the audience. You need to ask, what am I going to do before the conference with technology to do that, right? The next thing you want to do is gain interest, because I can tap you on the shoulder and get your attention, right? But you're not going to really want to engage with me until I really got you interested. So what's going to get them to that next level? What's going to move them from just having someone's attention, right, and then moving them into the interest part of the interaction? The next part is really convincing, right? So once we've have someone, you know, we got their attention, we got them interested. What's really going to convince them that they need to be at the conference, right? And so there's a variety of different methods and technologies that can do that. The fourth is arousing desire. You know, there's got to be that component before, during, and after the event. So ask yourself as a meeting planner, you know, what are the things that I'm going to have to ask my client to arouse desire? And the last and final piece is, what's the takeaway, right? What am I going to walk away with? What is that client ultimately going to believe when they walk away? And what do I want them to do and act after?
So bear with me. Attention, interest,
conviction,
desire, and then takeaway.
And takeaway. Yeah.
So, and would that be as relevant in pre-event as event and post-event, or is that really an event? Is that the overall?
That's the overall. It goes back to the meeting planner being the professional, the proactive professional versus
Right.
the reactive person. So they would approach, if you were the client, I would say, you know what, there may be a way we can make this conference increase or decrease whatever is relative to that client, right? So you want to get their attention with a short phrase like that,
Right.
and then move into the interest category, which would be, you know, what are the most important factors about this conference? How will this group of people think beforehand? Okay, and how would you like to see that change, and how would you like to see them, you know, react and feel during the conference? And then third, you know, what do you want them to be convinced of when they leave the conference?
Are there budgetary concerns? Can a group of any size have access to these tools?
Absolutely, and it's become more and more prevalent because we moved from hardware-centric technologies, for example, like an audience response We've all seen the little keypads where you
Right.
press them and you get the instant response. And so whenever you have something like that where it's contingent on a piece of technology, the price goes up, right? But now everyone has a smartphone. So now when we've gone to software as a service as a primary method, the cost goes way down because now we can just use a platform. A lot of people do have the internet access on their phones. If not, that can be supplemented and supplied on site. Everyone has, most people have access to a computer before an event. So all of these things have become more affordable.
Now, having said that, there are generational differences, aren't there, when it comes to being comfortable? There are generations who are happy with the old ARS keypad, you know.
Yeah.
So do you have to deal with these things differently, different generations?
Absolutely, and just because something's old doesn't mean it's bad. There's a place for audience response in the right setting. You know, there's definitely parameters. However, you do need to ask yourself, what demographic am I going for?
Right.
If the demographic are financial attorneys, a group of 100, you know, and you're trying to introduce a smartphone or smart app to this group, again, ranging from maybe 50 to 60-year-olds in that group, it's not going to be successful. So you really need to ask yourself, who is my audience? How comfortable are they with technology? And what's the best way to move those people to really experience what you want them to experience during the conference?
And young people, from what I understand, I'm talking about millennials generally speaking,
Sure.
have an expectation that there will be these kinds of tools and interaction.
Absolutely, and really it's a lesser event if you don't have them.
Right.
Yeah.
And we focused on technology, which is good. There's also a content side of it. I read somewhere, we were talking earlier, Michael, about the average attention span is 20 minutes, the average presentation is 60 minutes.
That's right.
So how do you mitigate, how does a planner mitigate that 40-minute difference?
Well, it's been, it's somewhat known that you want to break up the conversation and pull away from the main outline, if you will, of a meeting that long. If you have an hour-long meeting, you typically want to break that up every 10 to 15 minutes. You want to introduce something where you're engaging the audience, and whether that's with a hard keypad or it may be just a question. Again, audience engagement can include technology, but sometimes when the applications, you know, call for it, it may just be, you know, a raise of hands.
A planner would be wise to talk to their AV provider
Yes.
about tools they have for
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's just take let's go back to a conference, right? You're walking through the conference and you may see digital signage, you know, signs that are helping people to wayfind, you know, which room to go in for a certain event, that kind of thing. Technology now has brought us to the point where you can have mobile apps where you can look on your phone and actually have a personalized agenda on that smartphone, so that you use not only the digital media that's around you, but you have a personal, your personal agenda is right there on your phone. So it's moving that way. I think the biggest part of a meeting planner's job is taking care of the client, right? That's the priority, not looking for technology. That's why it's critical, unless they're doing it full time, to find a partner that's going to help them with that technology, help them understand, because technologies come and they go and they come and they go, right? And what's important is to have the right technology for the right event. So if you look for companies that carry a variety of technologies that are not agnostic, for example, there's a case to be made why you wouldn't necessarily want to go directly to the software writer or provider, is because you just have that one solution, right? And if your needs change, and you have to go find another individual, et cetera. So it's common sense at times to say, okay, I want a trusted partner. I want someone I want to work with.
So an AV provider who looks across a number of software suppliers.
Absolutely. That's really going to be, that's going to help the meeting planner focus on what's most important.
I just want to go back, and as we kind of wind down, attention, interest, conviction.
Arouse the desire.
Arouse the desire and takeaway.
And takeaway.
And takeaway could be anything from a print item to technology.
That's exactly right.
Great, great. Thank you, Michael.
It's very good to be here.
We've been speaking with Michael Floyd, Regional Vice President, PSAV, on audience engagement.